Think your lipstick is just makeup? What if I told you that tiny tube connects you to a $500 billion global machine that's been shaping cultures for 7,000 years? From Cleopatra's kohl eyeliner, which wasn't just for beauty, but actually protected against eye infections, to L'Oréal's laboratories creating synthetic molecules worth more than gold, the cosmetics industry is the most psychologically sophisticated business on Earth. Today, we're going behind the mirror to expose how this empire really works. Because once you understand the game, you'll never look at beauty the same way again. Let's start 4,000 years ago in ancient Egypt. Queen Nefertiti's iconic bust isn't just art, it's a business plan. That green malachite around her eyes, it killed bacteria. That kohl liner, UV protection from the desert sun. Ancient Egyptians weren't just making themselves beautiful, they were solving medical problems. Fast forward to Imperial China, where your nail color literally determined your social class. Wrong shade? That could mean death. In ancient Rome, women applied lead-based face paint to achieve pale skin, a sign they were wealthy enough to stay indoors. Toxic? Absolutely. But status was worth the risk. Here's the pattern. Cosmetics have never been about vanity. They've always been about power, identity, and survival. The ancients understood what modern marketers spend billions trying to figure out. Beauty is about belonging. The Industrial Revolution changed everything. Suddenly, what took apothecaries hours to mix by hand could be mass-produced in factories. In 1907, a French chemist named Eugene Schueller created a synthetic hair dye called L'Oréal. That little experiment? It became L'Oréal, now the world's largest cosmetics company worth over $200 billion. The post-World War II era created the modern beauty titans we know today. But here's what most people don't know. It started with a feud. Helena Rubinstein and Elizabeth Arden were bitter rivals who built competing beauty empires. They refused to speak to each other for decades, yet their competition created the luxury beauty market. While they fought over high society clients in exclusive salons, a young woman named Estée Lauder was watching from the sidelines. Lauder couldn't afford their massive advertising budgets, so she invented something revolutionary: the gift with purchase. That free lipstick you get with your purchase? That's Estée Lauder's genius, still working 70 years later. But her masterstroke wasn't a single brand. It was creating multiple brands to compete with herself. Clinique, MAC, Too Faced, all under one umbrella, targeting different customers. This became the playbook. Don't build one brand, build an ecosystem. Today, L'Oréal owns 36 brands. The Estée Lauder companies controls everything from luxury Tom Ford to drugstore Clinique. These aren't accidents. They're calculated strategies to dominate every price point and demographic. Here's the economics that'll blow your mind. That $30 foundation costs about $3 to manufacture. The remaining $27? That's not greed. That's the cost of making you believe you need it. Walk into any Sephora and you're entering a psychological laboratory. Those testers aren't just samples, they're behavioral triggers. The black and white packaging screams luxury. The bright lighting makes colors pop. Even the store layout forces you past impulse purchases. But the real genius is in the product development cycle. A new lipstick starts 18 to 24 months before you see it, in labs that look more like NASA than a beauty company. Chemists create formulas, but behavioral psychologists design the experience. That satisfying click when you close your compact? Engineered. The weight of the packaging? Calculated to feel premium. The supply chain reveals the industry's dark secrets. Your shimmery eyeshadow contains mica, often mined by children in India. That smooth cream texture comes from palm oil linked to deforestation. The glossy packaging creates 120 billion pieces of waste annually, with 95% never recycled. Yet consumers are waking up. The clean beauty movement isn't just a trend. It's a $400 million revolt against the industry's traditional playbook. Brands that ignore this do so at their peril. The internet changed everything. While L'Oréal and Unilever spent millions on TV commercials, a new generation of entrepreneurs launched beauty brands from their bedrooms using Instagram and TikTok. The contrast is stark. Big brands take 2+ years to launch a product. Indie brands, 6 months. Legacy companies rely on celebrity endorsements costing millions. DTC brands use micro-influencers for thousands. The giants dominate physical retail, but indies own social commerce. Here's what the data shows. Big brands control 70 to 80% of market share, but indie brands are growing 15.7% annually, while legacy players struggle to hit 5%. The secret weapon? Authenticity. When Fenty Beauty launched with 40 foundation shades, compared to the industry standard of 10, it didn't just sell makeup, it sold inclusion. But don't count the giants out. They're not sleeping, they're shopping. When an indie brand proves a concept, the giants acquire it. It's cheaper than innovation and faster than internal development. The next battlefield is personalization. Imagine scanning your face with your phone and having AI create a custom foundation formula just for you. It's not science fiction. It's happening now. Virtual try-on technology is boosting online sales by 90% because it solves beauty's biggest problem. Will this look good on me? Asia-Pacific is already the world's largest beauty market at 40% of global sales, and it's still growing. The next billion beauty consumers won't come from New York or Paris. They'll come from Mumbai, Jakarta, and Lagos. But here's the real disruption coming. Biotech beauty. Instead of harvesting ingredients from plants or mining minerals, labs are growing identical compounds from bacteria and yeast. Cleaner, more sustainable, and potentially more effective than anything nature produces. The industry's dirty secrets are becoming business opportunities. Brands solving sustainability, inclusivity, and authenticity aren't just doing good. They're printing money. So here's the question that should keep you awake tonight. Is the cosmetics industry empowering you to express your authentic self, or is it engineering your insecurities to sell solutions? The industry has evolved from ancient protection rituals to modern identity construction. It's simultaneously the most creative and the most manipulative business on Earth. Every product tells you a story about who you could become. But remember, you're always the author of your own story. The beauty empire will continue growing, evolving, and adapting. The companies that survive will be those that understand this fundamental truth. Beauty isn't about perfection. It's about possibility. The next time you pick up that lipstick, remember, you're not just buying makeup. You're participating in humanity's oldest form of self-expression. Just make sure you're writing your own script. Thanks for watching. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Capital Compass so you won't miss any future deep dives into the forces shaping our world. See you in the next video.